Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to paint up some scenery for the Resident Evil the board game by Steamforged Games. I've had a few requests to get the scenery done so people can start playing the game, because really the base game, all that's left to do is Lisa Trevor and the Tyrant. So I want people to start being able to enjoy the game, so I'm coming with a video for the scenery. But before we get to that, if you would enjoy what you see and you would like to support the channel, I do have a PayPal linked in my description. If you would like to support the channel, as I said, please, any any donation on there will hopefully improve the quality of my videos, be it getting a new camera, better lights for painting, that sort of thing. But anyway, into the painting. So what I'm actually going to do first, so what I did first, I should say, is the same with any of my videos. I basically gave them a bath in warm soapy water and gave them a scrub and then rinsed them off, just to get any of the release agent off. And then I sprayed them. This time, instead of using Grey Matter Beige, I went in with a brown spray, because a lot of them are going to be like the iron doors and stuff. The brown is a good base colour because it acts like a bit of rust and stuff in the creases, and a lot of it is wooden anyway, like the banisters and stuff. So I've gone in with this base. It's called Fur Brown by Army Painter. So yeah, that's what I use for the spray on them. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in with a brown colour, if I can find it. Here it is, Mournfang Brown. And this is just to reinforce the brown areas, so part of the typewriter and the iron box. So we'll get that started, just so you can see roughly what I'm doing. You don't really need to worry about painting the base of the box, because I'm not going to bother, because it just sits down on it. But so for the typewriter, we just want to reinforce the brown around the edges, because some of it's going to be painted in with metallics. So just like that, around the edges and on top as well. And if you're unsure, just copy what I'm doing, like that. I'll do this bit, but we'll see if that's brown later. I'm going off previous ones I've painted from the Resident Evil 2 box set, so I want to get something like this. But that's that, and then I'm just going to get a darker, because I prefer this brown as a base colour on the iron box. So again, just fill it in. You don't need more than one coat, because the brown base already does a lot of that for you. So I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Next up, we're going to put some Rakarth Flesh down on the two bodies. Again, this can just be slapped on. Obviously water it down first. And if you keep some of the brown in the deepest parts, that's not going to be the end of the world, because it's a nice sort of colour for the deep recesses. So just get it on the fleshy bits, leaving some of the trousers with colour, because we'll come back and, I don't know, we might leave it brown, or we might do a more sort of jean colour. I haven't decided yet, but finish getting that done, and yeah. Okay, so that's the Rakarth Flesh drying on them. Next we're going to come in with Leadbelcher. And this is going to be all over the ink ribbon and some of the typewriter and the edges around the box. So for the item box, it's literally just these bits in silver. Try to be as steady as you can, not to spill over to the brown, but it is going to be washed with a shade after, so it's not the end of the world if you get a little bit in. But yeah, try to get those bits in there as well. So I'll finish that in a sec, and then yeah, all over with this. This will probably need 2 coats. And then for the typewriter, I want to do this entire bit that it sits on, and then there's like the keys on the typewriter itself. So these bits, the 2 ink ribbon things, these bits, the actual bit that the paper bit sits on. So if you know typewriters and know what all these parts are called, I apologise for butchering them. But yeah, those bits there. And then there's like a little sort of edge to it, so like that. So I'm trying to get something that to look like this. So here I've got, if you can see that, the bits I've done in silver there. That's what I'm trying to approach as well with this one. So yeah, just try and get him to that. I'll get them done and we'll be back. Next we're going to go back to the 2 corpses, and I'm going to get Mournfang Brown and Steel Legion Drab. I'm going to do one of their trousers in one and one in the other. So just gives a bit of variation, because they are quite straightforward and quite quick to do. It is worth having a bit of variation. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect, but good thing about the scenery, it's not the main the visual point of the focus point of the game. So being a little bit more background, you don't need to spend nearly as much time on them to get them good. So I'll finish that on this one, and then I'll do the brown on the other one, and we'll be back. Okay, so next up we're going to go in with Flayed One Flesh, and this is literally just for the paper part of the typewriter. Only a tiny bit here, but this bit here. And get that done in, like so. That's all done. I'll probably just quickly put another coat of the silver on here, just so it's not got any brown showing through. But I think the next stage will be coming to the washes, so we'll be back with that stage once it's all dried. Okay, so next step is the wash step. So we're going to wash the typewriter, the ink ribbon, and the box with Nuln Oil. On the ink ribbon, we want to try and keep this this circle, this bit. So we want to do the inside, and then we want to do the outside. We want to keep the middle bit without getting it wash on it, if possible. If you do get wash on it, it's not the end of the world. You just go over it with silver again. We're keeping that like that for a specific reason, which we'll get into shortly. But yeah, we want to get the rest of it washed. It's a little more difficult to not get the wash in those bits, so I decided to wash it all. We can come back in later with the silver to highlight back up. But yeah, so that's that done. Then we want to get all this whole thing washed in Nuln Oil as well, and then the typewriter. So we'll be back once that's done and dry. Right, whilst that Nuln Oil's drying on those ones, I'm going to go in with Reikland Fleshshade. and just give these a quick wash. I'll make sure you shake the pot. Don't want shiny minis. And yeah, this is just all over wash on both minis. We'll be back once everything's dry. That's all the washing done. Next up, we want to touch up a bit of the silver. So we'll just tidy up a bit, because unlike on this, you might get like tide marks on the flat areas. So we just want to tidy that up a bit. Get some on your wet palette. Especially do it for the flat areas. Then we also want to just go over some of the silver on like the box and stuff. And then yeah, just maybe that the edges like that. Just pick out the sharpest bits. Again, I'm not too fussed about a huge amount of detail on this, because it is a terrain piece, but so, and then just run over this. Catching top edges, I say. Right. Next up, we want to fill in ink ribbon with Black Legion. The letters, just so they stand out a bit more. So make sure you use a thin brush for this. And do it ever so gently. Take your time. Eventually it will be done. We'll be back. So we want a bit of Flayed One Flesh. And this is just for the parchment on the top of the typewriter. This side. And on the back as well. Okay, so next we're going to go Agrax Earthshade. And this is just to dirty up the typewriter stand. So you put like a bit down and drag it down like that. It looks like water's run off it and stained it. Just do it sparingly, mostly around edges, a little bit on flat surfaces, like this. Then when that dries, that will leave like a nice dirty effect. So you don't want to go too mad. Normally around the edges of bits that's thrown off the bit of dampness. Then in the recesses here, around the handle. Again, you don't want to go too mad. But the idea is it to look like a bit like this. So yeah, that is the typewriter completed. Again, if you just do it around maybe some of the rivets on here, don't have to go too mad, as I said. A little goes a long way. Let's say, yeah, so mostly around. and then hinges. That's it. And that is the box complete. If you wanted to highlight some more on the brown, you can, but I'm quite happy leaving it as is. Yeah. Okay, so the final part of the ink ribbon, we're going to get Athonian Camoshade, and what we're going to do with this is, you see this inner circle, we're going to put a few coats of wash on that, and that just gives it a green tint, because if you look, I'm pretty sure if you look at the ink ribbons, like Examiner and in-game, in the actual game, they've got a hint of green to them. So this just gives it the silver a very green, very slight green tint, and just go as much as you want till you're happy with it. I'll probably do 2, maybe 3 coats just to darken it up, but we'll get that finished. Right, next we're going to go back in with Rakarth Flesh just to pick up a bit of the flesh on these two corpses. Again, this is just going to be the highest areas. So, for like the rib cage, dry your brush off a bit and just drag it along the highest edges, just to catch those ribs. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to smother it in blood, which is my favourite part. So I'll get that done on both of them and we'll be back. Finally, the fun part on the corpses, blood for the blood god. Do this with a sponge, but I'm being a little bit lazy and I'm just going to, around the rear, just dot it in with a brush. A sponge gets a more natural splattered look, but yeah, use a sponge for this bit if you want. Also, what you could do is paint in your base, whatever colour base you're doing for scenery, if you're doing the same coloured base for everything, or because I do a set colour, I think I do mine in grey from previous 2 previous games. So if you paint it in, you could always have the blood splattered on the ground like this, like that, Blech. On the ground like that. There you go. But yeah, that's him done. And then same for this one, around the stomach area, around the head, the mouth. As you can see, I'm not doing nearly as much detail just because I just want paint on it to make them look good, and so they're just not plain normal plastic colour. But yeah, as much blood down as you want. Probably leave it there. But yeah, so that's the first lot of the scenery. I've actually decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in parts. So this would be part 1. Part 2 will probably be the banisters and walls, and then part 3 will be the doors and the stairs. So if you like this video, please leave me a like and subscribe, and do think about donating to the channel if you can. It would help immensely. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and we'll hopefully see you in the next video fairly shortly. Thanks again. Take care. Happy painting.